よー
武士道とは死ぬことと見つけたり修羅
Respect. Sekiro does respect you as a video game. Maybe a little too much, as it turns out. But Sekiro doesn't know you, nor does From Software. They don't owe you or me anything outside of a video game you or I paid for, with money. Beyond that, wow! To demand anything outside of that is starting to sound pretty damn entitled, if you ask me. Respect is earned, not demanded, and certainly not in an accusatory and insulting tone. And last I checked, belly aching is made fun of. You wander into a realm of competition and then whine about the rules around other people who have overcome those challenges, you're gonna get ribbed for it! I used to work at a dehydrated vegetable processing and shipping receiving warehouse. A typical day was spent unloading 80-foot metal containers in the sun stacked floor to ceiling with literal tons of garlic powder or dehydrated wasabi powder. If anybody complained about the work being too hard, and it pretty much sucked, you can bet they'd get some guff from everybody else doing their jobs. And you can bet nobody demanded easier working conditions under the guise of, but the disabled guy can't put together the 12,000-pound order of chives. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for him. Look at how altruistic I'm being. It's on disability. This is a disgusting thing to me. My demand for difficulty settings or an easy mode isn't exactly for me. I'm standing up for those who can't stand. Literally and figuratively. Doesn't matter. I'm here to save you all from those biggity bastardy video game playing rejects. Conflating easy mode and accessibility for the disabled is just kind of embarrassing and scummy. Especially when a quadriplegic guy can smoke y'all so hard Jay and Silent Bob wonder where their stash got to. Come on. You're bad at your job and you're demanding an easier time of it, is what some of this sounds like to me. Here's the thing. We could try being polite. Hey, developers making a super challenging ninja video game. Would you ever consider adding in any difficulty options for me and my friends who maybe suck at this kind of game? We've played the other From Software games and we were terrible at them. Maybe, please? But if that compromises your vision, that's fine too. You want respect? You have to show it. Or be treated like the jerk you might be behaving like. I don't know. And last I checked, cheating in a game rarely ever compelled anybody to shout it from the mountaintops how proud of themselves they were for doing it. Now, I'm fine. 100% fine with cheats in video games. I abused the game Genie on my Nintendo Entertainment System worse than an old world Italian bride. I was never terribly proud of it. Either scenario. And I've typed glittering prizes so many damn times that combination of letters is now a part of my DNA. And options are great. Options are part of the reason I play most of my games on PC. From mods to reshade, you can really custom tailor your experience. At least on that platform. But let's say From Software decided to go ahead and put in some sort of easy mode, or difficulty modifiers or sliders or what have you. I would probably try it out just to see what changed, because any further excuse to play more Sekiro is music to my ears. But there's an issue there, or issues, too, though. I know I am always at least a little suspect when faced with tons of difficulty options and sliders in a game. I want to play the game tuned the way it was intended to be played. Sometimes I'm not so sure when I'm faced with a wall of options like that. What was compromised? What was changed? What is intended in this difficulty bracket that's now in this one, and what was left out of this, and it can be a kind of a mess for me mentally at least. But I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. But sometimes too, Oblivion's horrible level scaling comes to mind. Difficulty is outright just busted. It can also be argued, and effectively too, that more difficulty options make for a larger audience, and therefore more money for the developers. But does the developer have enough time to still tune a variety of difficulty options while still retaining the experience they want to deliver, and an interesting one and still engaging one at that? Do they have enough money to do that? Do they care? And I think that's ultimately what it's all about. Is it in the game? Yeah, cool. Is it not in the game? Ouch. This is gonna hurt and cause me to maybe improve a little bit at the game in practice, but still cool. And that's kind of what it's all about. Creator's decision. This whole thing is just so funny to me. It's a hobby. You can't get more optional than that. A hobby I care greatly about mine, but still a hobby. And this game, by the way, this game has more cheese built into it than any From Software game made in the last 10 years. From the gamut of your ninja tools to all of the consumables that you can use to outright AI exploits. You can cheese the hell out of this game and take out bosses without breaking much of a sweat at all. And if you want to talk about inclusivity, that's what's so wonderful about these games. They do respect you enough not to give you the easy way out. They know you can do it, more so than you do. And we're all in the same boat. That's what's so cool about it. We all get to have the same conversation about it, share horror stories about tearing our hair out, destroying controllers, and then comes that magic moment where you finally and ultimately triumph over a ruthlessly and obnoxiously difficult boss fight, and ultimately, the game. And by the way, the game gets harder as you play it. It could be said that playthrough number 1 is, relatively speaking, the easy mode in Sekiro. There are tons of different difficulty options going through the game. Buried deeper within the game's mechanics, all it takes is a little digging around, or asking on forums or watching a YouTube video to figure out what might be the best strategy for you. That aspect of Sekiro and the broader Soulsborne series, this is a part of their identity. I don't necessarily care, one way or another, if an easy mode is added, but I do think we'd be losing out on something special that only comes around once in a while. A pretty damn pure gaming experience, and a complete one. And that's a rare thing these days, unfortunately. In Sekiro's eyes, we are all equal. And all awful at it.
My maker, traitor.